Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I think I've developed an obsession with Skylar's leaf cautions. Anyways, in case you haven't noticed, I made it to 50 subs. I of course would know, given my 50th follower subscribed right in front of me. Good times. Welcome to my 50 sub special guys. Today, we'll be talking about names, how I name my characters, why I choose certain names, and other behind the scenes foolery to amuse you with. Enjoy. When it comes to naming my characters before a movie, my number one rule is that I never name any of my characters after anyone I know in real life. I do this because it would be very awkward for me to constantly be comparing the person and the character, and I might accidentally lean the character's personality to match the IRL person's. There are a couple of exceptions though. Sometimes I meet someone with the same name as my characters while I'm making the movie and I've already named the characters. This happened with Liam, Amy, and it might as well have happened with Minty. Luckily in those cases the personalities had already been determined, so it didn't have too much of an effect on me. There is only one situation where I name my characters after real life people, and that is if I had been planning to base the character off of them from the start. This has only happened once though. Do you think you can guess which characters this happened with? It was Amber. If you know me in real life, and you see your name used for villain or mean person in one of my movies, it means I really don't like you. My newest work, Don't Let in the Cold, was heavily based off of a lot of my personal experiences, including Amber's rude behavior. I'm not necessarily being bullied, but I'm really not a big fan of Amber. Something I would like to clarify though, is that when I choose names for my villains, I'm not trying to attack everyone with that name. There are plenty of awesome Ambers, Connors, Ginnis, and people with the last name Crow, in turn. I'm sure there are some pretty awful Noras, Trixes, Savannahs, and Lolas out there as well. My policy is that I will assume you are nice until you prove me wrong. Just because there is a character with your name, doesn't mean you are exactly like them. Sometimes when I have to name my characters, I can get really indecisive. My favorite strategy is to go to Google and search up names for girls or names for boys. Sometimes I'll add more specific details such as names that mean something. Then sometimes I'll just have a revelation and know. For some reason, for the Dragon's Lab and the orphanage I always had names on hand at all times. My indecisiveness started kicking in around the time of the Poison Queen, and I've been helpless ever since. Here are some of the ways I found names for my characters. Something else funny that I do is sometimes I pick a name for my character, and then change my mind right before they enter the story. When I make a series I pre-make all the characters, and whenever I want to use them I copy them from my slots. I can go the whole project with the character's slot name being one thing but on-screen name being something else. Here are some of my characters' funny slot names that I trained myself to recognize them as when I look for them to copy. The last thing I really have to talk about when it comes to names is what I'll call inherited names. I may have only released 4 gacha projects on my channel, but there have been many scrap projects that happened in between them. Sometimes if I have a series that does work out, I reuse the characters in different projects. This can cause some of the recognizable characters on my channel to have entirely foreign origins. So the earliest version of Holly was in a singing battle I made before I did YouTube. If I still had the video I would totally show you her design, but unfortunately it was lost with my old tablet when it died. I later redesigned her character along with the first ever version of Naya for the same project. Holly was a wolf girl adopted by Naya's parents who secretly only kept her to do experiments on her. Naya had become Holly's best friend and felt bad for her that her parents experimented on her. Naya's first design was a mage with cute leggings that I later stole for my OC. I'll see if I can replicate the outfit for you guys. Now I know some of my OG viewers are going, hold on L, that story sounds familiar. That's because you've heard it before. That's right, I'm obsessed with Easter eggs. Gummy and I joke behind the scenes that the flower I gave Naya was a flower of truth, cause all of the nonsense she spouted was all secretly bloopers and Easter eggs. Here I was poking fun at the fact that I forgot to remove his injury from Connor, and Bella's sweater was inspired from my fab sweater IRL. This was just me hinting at the Easter egg I already revealed, and I don't know why I made her go after Cameron. That was actually something random. You might notice I left out this interaction. That's because this one has Savannah's original character design behind it. Shortly after the one with Holly, I had another project with an altered version of Naya as the main character. Her name was Mary, and she was a slave of original Savannah's mother. Mary's job was to make flower crowns and had a giant garden she tended to. Savannah had a lot of pressure on her from her mother, who was obsessed on her being a star dancer. She would make Savannah practice for hours with no breaks. Her only release was getting to hang out with Mary. That is until her mother threatens to kill her if she doesn't win a dance competition. Unfortunately, Savannah only makes second in the competition, so her mother starts beating up Mary as a punishment. Then in a sudden burst of desperation and rage, Savannah finds out she can make fire with her mind. The story was about Mary and Savannah trying to find a way to remove Savannah's curse. So that is why Naya had a crush on Savannah, and why Savannah hates dancing. I had Trix's model for a good while before she got her own movie. She was identifiable by her hairstyle, which at one point was neon cotton candy colors. Her only main role that I can remember was the roommate of the main character in a series about a dance school. She liked to read, and whenever she danced she put her hair up in cute pigtails. When I made the sisters in the Dragon's Lab, I knew I was making them for the first project of my channel. My issue is I didn't know what the series was gonna be about. I have several projects with them before I did the Dragon's Lab, but all of them can be sorted into two categories. One's with a Fae school, and one with a lab. I had several movies where instead of getting kidnapped by a lab, she was born a Fae and was being brought to a school. Also, if you ever hear me use the word Fae, I'm referring to these people who I wouldn't necessarily categorize as angels, but they have feathery wings. I call them this because of the second Maleficent movie. Obviously Nora doesn't have the same rules as them though, cause otherwise she would have died in that metal dungeon. Back on topic. I also had a series where all three of the sisters were Fae and they were all getting brought to the school, and I had a lot of plans for that one. Unfortunately I lost my motivation before they even got to the school. As for one final blooper, while making this video I spotted a slip I accidentally made. One of the characters' original selves was in a movie as a background character before they became a main. Behold.
But I was led astray the day you walked away. You were the clock that was ticking in my home. Changed my state of mind. Love's so hard to find.
Anyways, that's all I had for this video. Thank you so much for 50 subs, guy. I love you all and I'm very grateful for all of your support. Love you guys, bye.